Hello, romance book lovers. Welcome to Tales from the Heart. I'm Jenna Harte, and each week I post new episodes from my stories of crime and passion. Right now, we're listening to Til Death Do Us Book 4, The Valentine Mysteries. This week is Episode 10, Chapter 10. Now, if you'd like to read along or get ahead in the story, you can. Get Til Death Do Us from your favorite ebook retailer, or you can save by buying it direct from me. Til Death Do Us is the fourth book in the series. If you missed book 1, Deadly Valentine, you can listen by checking earlier episode postings, or if you'd like to read it, you can get Deadly Valentine for free at my website, jennaharte.com. Books 2 and 3, Old Flames Never Die, and With This Ring I Thee Kill are also available in earlier episode postings, or you can read through your favorite ebook retailer, or again, you can grab it less through my shop. Tales from the Heart is posted to YouTube and podcasts each week. These episodes are edited to censor out intimate content. But if you'd like to have a version that includes the spicier bits, plus get early access, behind-the-scenes information about the stories, bonus content, and more, please join my free exclusive Sweetheart group over at jennaharte.com. Never miss the mystery or romance by hitting the subscribe button, and remember that all the details and links you might need are just a click away in the description. Now snuggle up, get comfy, and enjoy the show.
Chapter 10.
I was beginning to think you two had resumed your activities.
Ava stood near the bookcase, looking over the pictures and other items on display.
Who says we didn't?
Jack tossed. He ignored the glare from Tess.
Here is some coffee and biscotti,
Tess said, placing the tray on the coffee table.
Thank you.
Ava sat on the couch and took the coffee offered by Tess.
So, if you weren't having sex, were you talking about me? Did you come up with any solutions?
Actually, we did,
Jack said.
You need call Lance back and get him on retainer.
That bad, eh?
Actually, I'm not sure it is that bad, but an attorney can help keep it from getting bad.
Tess said, taking her own cup and sitting in a chair across from Ava.
He said I underestimated the situation.
Yes? I think you did. But that doesn't mean they're ready to arrest you. They're taking a close look. Whatever theory they're working with fits you best, and anything you tell them will be used to help them make their case, like failing to admit that you'd attacked someone before.
Jack watched for Ava's reaction. She took a long, deep breath.
You told her about that.
Yes.
Jack didn't feel he needed to justify his reasons. He sat next to Ava, hoping he could offer support and keep her calm.
To be honest, I've tried so hard to put that day behind me, and it was different than Amya's case. He was killing my mother.
Tess nodded.
Yes. The problem isn't so much that it happened, it's that you lied about it. Those are things Lance can help you navigate. He can stop you from saying things that might hurt you and intercede if he thinks the police are looking at something wrong.
What do the police have anyway?
Jack asked Tess.
Probably more than I know about. What I do know is that they have Josh's admission that he moved the body because he believed Ava might have been the one to hit Amya with the champagne bottle.
He admitted that?
Yes, and he was arraigned this morning on evidence tampering. Ava bailed him out. They also have her prints. One on a wine glass and one on the broken pieces of the bottle.
Jack didn't like the sound of that. He looked at Ava, wanting the truth from her.
It wasn't me,
She said on an exasperated breath.
If I were her lawyer, and what Lance would say is that an intact wine glass is an indication that Ava didn't do it. After all, it's well known that she throws things. If she was at the breaking point, that would be the first casualty.
Jack smiled. His wife was brilliant.
Also, when questioned about the champagne, she admitted to touching the bottle. Again, if I were your lawyer, I'd want that bottle reconstructed. Because if I were looking at a champagne bottle, I'd hold it with its neck up. But if I wanted to hit someone with it, I'd hold it neck down like a club. We find out how those prints are on the bottle. We see exactly how Ava touched it.
and prove it wasn't me.
Right. One more thing. They're hoping they have DNA from the fight Amya put up when the killer was drowning her.
That's how she died?
Jack asked.
Yes. The problem is that DNA takes a long time and she was in water. Plus, there is a chance that Amya wasn't able to defend herself effectively. DNA isn't always the magic answer to whodunit.
Jack got the feeling Tess had more information about the killing but was being careful not to reveal too much. A part of him was annoyed that she wouldn't tell them everything she knew. But he also understood that the price of her being able to get information from Daniel was her discretion. Certain that Tess would use the information to find the truth, he decided he wouldn't press her for details.
DNA always worked on my show.
Ava said.
Yes, well, television gets it wrong a lot.
Tess said.
We should have had you as a consultant.
Ava sipped her coffee.
Do you think I should tell the lawyer the part about Anya calling me Aveline?
Jack closed his eyes as another bomb dropped.
So she did know.
Tess said.
That's definite motive.
Jack added.
She didn't come out and say she knew about Wade, but why else call me Aveline?
You should tell him. It's much easier for a lawyer to defend a client with all the information. It looks bad when a defense lawyer is taken by surprise.
Okay, I'll call the lawyer tomorrow. But I'm not here for you to solve my problems. Tess, I am so sorry about how I behaved at the police station today. You're going to find this hard to believe because in the few days you've known me, I've slapped Amya, been accused of murder, attacked you verbally, and now you know I've killed a man, but I'm not really so crazy.
Jack laughed.
Yes, you are.
Really, I'm not.
She glared at Jack.
I've never had an outburst at work. I've had a lot of anger management counseling, but Amya, she's one of those women who knows how to push buttons. I don't manage stress very well, I guess. That's the only way I can explain my behavior toward you.
It's all right. I understand.
But it won't happen again, right?
Jack stressed.
No, well, I hope not. I don't want to. It gets away from me sometimes, but I don't want to lose Jack or you, so I'll work very hard to behave.
Good, can I call you a cab now?
Jack,
Tess chastised. Her phone beeped. She looked at the ID.
it's Daniel.
That's the cop on my case, right?
Ava asked.
Yes.
Is it true he's in love with Tess?
Jack looked at her in surprise.
He was. He may still be, but he's come to terms with the fact that she loves me.
It doesn't bother you?
Jack shrugged.
Not usually, and sometimes it's been handy. There've been a few times when he's saved her life or mine because he cares about her, and she's very close to his family.
Still, it would be weird.
Sometimes.
What does he have against Kate?
Jack laughed.
You really did have girl talk, didn't you?
Well, sure. And we really did ask Tess if you're as good in bed as your looks and body might suggest.
Normally, Jack might have been embarrassed, but in many ways, Ava was a buddy. Sure, she was a girl, but he didn't always think of her like that.
And what was her assessment?
She wouldn't tell us.
I think she doesn't want to rub it in how good she's got it, at least when she can get it.
Ava winced.
I'm sorry you're not getting any. But what about Kate?
I don't know why Daniel doesn't like Kate. It started before I knew either of them. I'm not sure Tess knows, or if he knows.
Do you think Tess could use her influence over him to keep me out of jail?
Jack laughed.
Daniel can be indulgent with her, but not that indulgent.
Tess walked back into the room. Jack smiled at her until he saw her worried expression.
Something wrong?
Well, the good news is that I don't think Ava needs to worry about being arrested. At least for Amya's murder.
Well, that's good, right?
Ava said.
What's the bad news?
The bad news is that they arrested Reese.
What?
Ava jumped up. Immediately, Jack was up too and at her side.
That's ridiculous. He's the only one who had an alibi.
Daniel says Reese walked into the station this afternoon and confessed.
What? Why?
Ava sunk back down on the couch.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure he buys it.
Tess said.
You mean he doesn't think Reese is telling the truth?
Jack asked.
He didn't say that, but I could tell there were pieces that didn't make sense.
Then they can't arrest him, right? Don't they need evidence against him? Innocent people confess all the time.
Ava looked at Tess, the need for hope filling her eyes. Tess sat next to Ava.
It depends. The Commonwealth's attorney can take the confession, even if the story doesn't quite add up. Or the police can look into it more.
Can you tell your friend to look into it more?
Ava grabbed Tess's hands.
Reese didn't do this. He wouldn't. If it was going to kill her, he'd have done it long ago.
I can make that suggestion, but I don't know all the evidence, so I don't know what they have that corroborates his story. And
what?
Ava asked.
I understand why he'd kill her. When I saw them arguing in the lobby, he was livid. But when she threatened to hurt you, he looked lethal.
So you think he killed her to protect me?
If he did kill her, that's what I'd think.
Or maybe he's confessing to protect her,
Jack suggested. Tess nodded.
That's a possibility, too.
Ava frowned.
So he thinks I killed her and wants to protect me.
Not necessarily. He probably knows the police have spent a lot of time with you. Certainly Josh has mentioned it. Maybe he just wants to take the heat off of you.
Tess suggested.
We went years without talking, angry at each other, so why would he do that?
I think that's obvious.
Tess said.
You'd do it for him too, wouldn't you?
Fate doesn't want us together.
Nah,
Jack said.
Sometimes fate simply tests how badly you want to be together.
He looked at Tess. She smiled, letting him know she knew he was referring the storms they weathered.
I have to see him. Can I see him?
Ava stood again.
Not tonight, but you can probably see him tomorrow.
Yes, I have to tell him not to do this. I can handle the police. Well, with the help of that lawyer. I didn't kill Amya. I didn't even hit her.
Ava looked at Jack.
You believe me, don't you?
Without hesitation, Jack nodded.
Yes.
She smiled in gratitude.
Oh, I should call Karen. Reese needs a lawyer, too. Why hasn't she or Josh called me about this?
They might not know. Daniel called me out of a courtesy.
I'm going to call Karen.
Tess and I'll wait in the kitchen. Come find us when you're done,
Jack said.
Will she be okay?
Tess asked as they entered the kitchen.
Yes, she's good under pressure when it's other people's lives that are at stake. But I think she should stay here.
He was surprised by the smile on Tess's face.
I agree.
He put his arms around her.
This is not the reunion I expected.
No? What did you expect?
He leaned in, his mouth hovered next to her ear.
You and me naked, you writhing, me proving I'm as good in bed as my looks and build suggest?
Tess laughed and slid her arms around him.
Well, I already know that.
He rested his forehead against hers.
Thank you for being her friend, even though she doesn't deserve it sometimes.
Sure she does, and I'm happy to do it. She's like family.
You think so?
Yes. She's like your little sister who you try to protect, and sometimes it's harder than others. But you never stop loving her.
Jack thought about it.
I guess you're right. My mom always thought she'd get me in trouble.
Well, that continues to be a possibility.
Tess said.
What do you know of this case?
Jack asked.
Mostly what I've already told you.
Do you think Josh could have done it?
Jack asked.
He admitted to moving the body. Why would he do that?
Daniel doesn't think he had time to move the body, deal with the champagne bottle, drown her, and change his clothes, which he would have had to do because she would have fought and drenched him.
And everyone else is accounted for?
I don't have everyone's details, but Josh is the one who says Reese couldn't have killed her because they were together. Josh brought the script to Reese after putting an unconscious Amya in the tub.
Do you think the same person that hit her came back and killed her, or that it was two different people?
Jack asked, now intrigued. Tess shook her head.
If only Poirot were here. There are other potential killers, but I don't know what the police has on any of them.
Right, like that Jim guy. I didn't like him.
Tess grinned, remembering Jim McDermott's blatant, unapologetic attempt to seduce her.
Just because he hit on your wife doesn't make him a murderer.
He was smarmy.
I haven't heard anything about him being a suspect.
Because they're focused on Ava. It's like when Asa was killed. The police had tunnel vision pointed right at me.
I don't think they have tunnel vision. I just don't think they have anything that points them towards someone else.
There is someone else, though. She didn't do this.
He studied Tess's face, wanting to see she believed him, needing her to believe in Ava.
There is someone else.
She agreed.
But who? Until someone else is identified, I think they'll put their sights back on Ava if Reese is released.
Karen is distraught, but she's kept her head and called Reese's attorney.
Ava said, entering the kitchen. Jack turned to her but kept his arm around Tess.
He's in California, but Karen arranged a charter to fly him out as soon as possible. God, I still can't believe this is happening.
She sank into the nearest chair.
This is going to sound really cold and callous, but even in death, Amya messes up people's lives.
It did sound a bit callous, but Jack understood. Still, if Tess was right and Reese was released, the police would put their sights back on Ava, and he couldn't have that.
Who else wanted Amya dead?
Who didn't?
Ava said.
Who wanted her dead? That is part of the movie.
Jack clarified. Ava shrugged.
The only people I know that had a history with Amya are me, Reese, of course, Josh, whom she fired, and Karen. But even though Josh didn't like Amya, he seemed happy to work for me. And Karen, somehow, she got along with Amya.
What about Jim McDermott, the other actors, or the director? Amya told Reese she could ruin the movie.
Tess asked.
If she had a goal to ruin the movie, she'd have dug up whatever she could to make it happen. No one was safe. She once told a producer of the show that Reese's makeup artist was stealing stuff off the set, which she wasn't, but she was still fired.
Why would Amya do that?
Tess asked.
Because Tina flirted with Reese. He flirted back. It was nothing more than that, but Amya couldn't bear it. I will say that if there was anyone who might have had dirt in their past, it was Jim. He's been around a long time and has a reputation for playing hard.
It could have been someone off the street,
Jack said.
It's not random.
Tess said.
But she was in your store. Odds are she was in other places in town where people could see her. So maybe a fan who's invested in the Reese-Ava relationship got into the hotel,
Jack suggested.
Kate said some of the social media gossip suggested that could be a possibility. Some of Reese and Ava's fans are glad Amya is gone. Another possibility is that someone followed her here. You said, Ava, that she never went anywhere without making enemies.
Ava nodded and then stopped as if a light bulb went off.
I wonder where Ivan is.
Who's Ivan?
Jack asked.
I called him her henchman. He was her assistant, but he did a lot of her dirty work, like taking props and putting them in the makeup artist's car. I don't know that I've ever seen her without Ivan lurking around.
Maybe we can mention that to Daniel,
Jack said.
Amya has parents in Utah or something, but I think they were estranged. They may have disowned her.
You think her parents may have killed her?
Tess asked.
Ava shook her head.
No, but they're the only family she has. I wonder if they'll make her final arrangements.
You almost seem sympathetic.
Not really. I know if they don't, Reese will. He's the kind of guy who'd do that. She was his wife once. They did have a child together.
It would be sad if the only person who cared enough to bury you was an estranged husband who did it out of duty.
I'm sorry I put a damper on your love life.
Ava said as Jack drove her to the county jail to see Reese the next morning.
My love life is fine. It's my sex life that's been dampened.
She snickered.
Come on, Valentine. You can't last more than 2 days?
Of course it had been more than 2 days since he'd made love to Tess, but he wasn't going to explain that. So instead he said,
Well, yeah.
He glanced at her, giving her his duh look.
But why would I want to?
Poor baby.
Maybe we could not talk about it.
He had other things he wanted to cover with her, like how she should be careful what she says. He suspected Tess had talked to Daniel, if the ease in which they were being allowed to see Reese was any indication. But Daniel never did anything on a case that couldn't potentially help him, which, to Jack, meant that their visit would likely be recorded, especially if Tess was right in thinking that Daniel wasn't buying Reese's story.
Look, while we're with Reese, I think you should be careful what you say.
Why?
If the police aren't sure Reese is the killer, they might think the killer will come visit him. And if that person says things like, I know you didn't do this, or don't do this to protect me, which I know are things you're thinking that could make you look guilty.
Oh, for...
Ava. This is serious. I know it sounds crazy because you didn't do it. But you have to remember the police are solving a puzzle and putting pieces they have together. Comments like that can be construed as guilt, so please be careful.
Yeah, okay.
He glanced at her again to see if she really understood what he was telling her.
I got it.
He parked in the lot outside the jail and walked with her inside. They passed through the security and were led to a small room.
Looks like he's getting special treatment.
Ava said.
Easier to observe and record if no one else is around.
Jack reminded her. A few moments later, a door opened and Reese entered. He didn't look like the movie star he was, but a night in jail hadn't completely taken away his presence either. Mostly he looked exhausted.
Ava, no,
He said when he saw her.
I don't want you here.
Reese, please. I was preoccupied the last few days, and now you're here. I feel like I missed something.
Jack,
He said by way of greeting. His tone suggested that he wasn't happy to see him either, but Jack wasn't sure if it was because he was with Ava or because he'd brought Ava there.
Karen said she called your lawyer. He should be here today. Until then, you can't say anything further.
Ava said.
this isn't order in the court, Ava. I said what I had to say and I'll deal with the consequences.
But why?
He sighed, and for the first time he looked defeated.
I brought her into our lives. She was threatening everything. I couldn't do that to you, to anyone. You don't know what she's capable of.
But I do. She lies and manipulates.
And doesn't care about the consequences.
The defeated look in Reese's eyes turned to pain. He turned away, and to Jack he looked like he was trying to decide if wanted to say more. Remembering that they were being recorded, Jack wondered if he should steer them toward another conversation. Ava was right. Even though he had confessed, he shouldn't give the police any more than he'd already given them.
I thought I could control her.
Reese finally said.
Especially after RJ's death. I promised I'd keep her secret if she'd leave me alone. I gave her a generous settlement, and I thought it worked, which is why I wanted to do this movie with you. Ava, I'd have never brought her back into your life if I thought she was still a threat.
I know.
Ava reached out to take his hand, her eyes turning sad when she realized he had cuffs on. But Jack's mind was reeling. If Reese had a secret on Amya, why not just leak it? Why kill her? That didn't make sense.
I was so sorry to hear about RJ. I saw pictures in the magazines. He was so precious.
Reese nodded.
He was perfect, and because he was, I had to think there was something good in Amya. I mean, how could evil birth such sweetness? I loved him. I loved him even when I learned he wasn't mine.
What?
Ava's shock was genuine. Jack hoped that whoever was listening in wasn't thinking about dollar signs and selling a scandal.
I don't understand.
I wasn't his biological father, but I was his father.
It seemed important to Reese that they understood that he'd loved the baby, felt it was his own even after learning he wasn't the biological father.
He was sick and having all sorts of tests. They determined he'd needed a procedure that required a biological match, so we were tested to find the best match. Only the test came back that I couldn't be biologically related to him.
Reese's head dropped forward, as if the situation was more than he could bear. Then he jerked back to look at them directly.
I wanted to strangle her then.
Did she know?
I don't know. She says she didn't. I begged her to find the biological father so we could save him.
Didn't she try to find him?
He shook his head.
She tried, but in the end it didn't matter.
He looked like a man who'd given up. He lost the child he loved as a son, and Ava probably wasn't making reconciliation easy, if at all. And then Amya turns up wreaking havoc. Even if he didn't kill her, he didn't have much to fight for. Was that why he was confessing? Because he blamed himself for bringing Amya into the lives of Ava and the other people in the movie?
Remember that episode you two did when you were in jail?
Jack said to Reese.
Jack, this is real life.
Ava said.
I know. And your character Reese thought Ava was dead and was resigned to spend the rest of his life in jail.
Yes, but what does that have to do about anything?
And then that sidekick character showed up.
Oscar.
Yes. He told you he thought Ava was alive, that you needed to fight to get out of jail so they could find her and save her.
Yes, we remember, Jack. What's this about?
Ava asked.
It's about hope. It's about fighting for something good.
Jack made his statement to Reese. Then he turned to Ava.
Tell him he has something to fight for.
At first she looked at him like he'd gone mad, but then understanding came to her eyes. She turned to Reese.
He's right. You have to fight this. We have a movie to make. And when that's done, you're long overdue on taking me to Europe.
Reese closed his eyes and Jack knew exactly what he was feeling. He remembered moments with Tess when he regained hope. It was relief and joy all mixed up into one.
Ava, I've already
Damn it, Reese, fight. Your lawyer will be here today. I bet Tess can help, but it can't be done if you don't try. Won't you try for me?
You know I'd do anything for you.
Good. Then you take care of yourself. If there is a gym, use it because I don't want you all soft when you get out.
He laughed.
I will if you will.
I did 3 miles on the treadmill this morning, or I will when I get back to the hotel.
And strength training by browbeating Josh.
Reese added.
Damn right.
You two should take that show on the road.
Jack said back in the car.
What are you talking about?
You two are funny together. It was good to see. He makes you happy, and he can manage you.
Manage me? Does Tess know you speak in a foul, sexist attitude?
I don't mean that in a sexist way. I mean it in a you're a difficult woman to get along with way. Tess can manage you too.
Yeah, well, I make life interesting.
That you do.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode from Tales from the Heart. I hope you enjoyed it and that you'll be back to find out what happens next. Now remember, members of my Sweetheart group can listen to full uncensored episodes through my website. Just visit jennaharte.com and click to become a Sweetheart for access to uncensored audio episodes, bonus content, and more. Now, if you'd like to read along or get ahead in the story, you can get Til Death Do Us Part from your favorite ebook retailer, or you can save by buying it direct from me. All the details and links you might need are just a click away in the description. Make sure you don't miss the next episode. Hit the subscribe button so you know when it's posted. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, this is Jenna Harte wishing you peace, love, and happily ever after.